So purchase commitments can be very embarrassing to a company. What are they? Basically, a company wants to lock in a price for raw materials or other inventory that it needs. So it says it goes into a contract with a supplier, and the contract says, okay, supplier, we will agree to buy X amount of inventory for such and such a price on a certain date. So maybe in November, they sign a purchase commitment to buy so much inventory on March 1st at a set price. And that sounds great. For the buyer, they've locked in the price. That inventory will be available to them. For the supplier, it's a good deal because they know they can do their production planning because they've got these orders that, they've got purchase commitments. People are committed to buy their product. Okay, so what could go wrong? What's the problem here? All right, well, let's start with cancelable purchase agreements. These we don't account for. They're no problem because if things, either party can walk away from them at any time. So we don't really worry too much about them. It is the non-cancelable agreements where there is a contract and each party is expected to perform. Let's just see what could happen here. If you've got, I think the easiest thing is just to go right to the examples here. Let's say that we've got, it's all happening within 1 year. And so on February 1st, the company says, yeah, we're going to buy some raw materials for $500,000 by November 15th, on November 15th. And so as long as the market price equals the contract price, or it's greater than, that's a good deal for the buyer. Because the idea is they want to lock in a lower price, or assuming that prices may rise over the period. So if the market price is equal to $500,000 or higher on November 1st when they're obligated to buy it, they simply go inventory at market price, 500, and they've signed a contract that says they're supposed to pay 500. No problem. But what if the market price has fallen by November 1st? Say the market price on November 1st was $435 instead of the $500 that they're obliged to pay. Okay, so then what do they have to do? Well, they have to bring that inventory that they buy on the books at its market price, because otherwise they would be overstating the value, future utility, all that good stuff of their asset inventory. So the inventory comes on at the market price. They still are obliged to pay the $500,000. And so they have a loss on the purchase commitment of $65,000. Okay? So that's where purchase commitments can get a little embarrassing. It's if the prices fall and you're obliged to pay a higher price. Okay, so now what if there's more than one accounting period involved? What do we have to do then? So say on September 1st, the company agrees to buy $500,000 of inventory on March 1st of the next year. December 31st, if the market price is greater than or equal to the contract price, there's no journal entries, nothing has to happen there because they're good. In other words, they're agreed to pay $500,000 for the inventory. If the price is $600 for the inventory, they're still going to get it for $5. As long as it's above $500,000, no journal entries are needed. However, on the other side of things, if the market price is less than the contract price, all right, the market price is down to $435 by year end. So at this point, the transaction doesn't happen until March, but at December 31, they know they're probably going to take a loss, and so they have to book it. They have to go estimated loss on purchase commitment for the $65,000, and then they do an estimated liability on purchase commitment for the difference between the $500 that they've got to pay and the current market price of that inventory. Okay, so now, if it gets to March 1st and the market price is still $435, they simply go, okay, we still got to pay the $500. We bring the inventory on at the market price, and we've already booked the loss on it when we knew it was going to happen, and now it's happened, and so we debit the estimated liability. Okay, so that's pretty good. But things could get worse. Things could get worse, yeah. So if the market price was even lower, then what happens? Okay, the market price is down to 410. This is a nightmare. So they got to bring the inventory on at 410. They still got to pay the 500. They've estimated the liability and already booked a loss of 65, and now they got to do an additional loss on that purchase commitment of 25,000. Okay, so you want to read over a little bit about purchase commitments in the book. This is, I've given you pretty much the mechanics of it here, and there is a lot of disclosure. Purchase commitments need to be disclosed in the notes to the financial statements, and yeah, so that's what you need to know about purchase commitments.